Hi, folks. It's Phil Bailey here from the London, Ontario Real Estate Podcast. We are on episode 19 of the podcast. And today I am bringing on a special guest with me, someone that you've probably heard of the company in London, Ontario. I have Alfonso Salemi with me today. He's the vice president of JAAG Properties in London. Reason I wanted to bring him on today is because I've had some clients go through the JAAG program and it's been a very smooth process. I think a lot of people don't know much about rent to own. They see the bus bench, but they might not maybe understand exactly what JAAG is doing in town. And also I see the community involvement, of course, that JAAG's been doing for London, and I've been impressed with that personally as well. So welcome, Alfonso, to the London, Ontario Real Estate Podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, Phil. It's an honor to be here. You're doing a great job with the podcast. Love what you're doing. The episodes, there's so much value, and definitely from the perspective of London, Ontario, where JAAG is based out of. Man, we've been loving working with you, and love the podcast.
Great. So maybe before we get started into the questions I had for today on the rent to own side, I'm curious on the community involvement that JAAG has kind of put forward as a company, and I'm curious on what have you been doing kind of for the London community, because I've been seeing your company's name all over the place lately.
Yeah, absolutely. Being in our community is a huge importance to us. We love being part of the community. We sponsor the London Knights, we're the official sponsors for London Majors. We sponsored Ivy Park as well too. So a few times a year we're doing, pick up some litter, the cleanups in the parks. We have a bunch of local athletes. We love being out in the community and being involved, right? So yeah, like you said, the park benches, the sports teams, and even the cool part is like this local athletes as well too. So if you're listening to this and if you have kids or people that you help, whether it's jerseys or lunch or something like that, we love being out and being involved in the community and really investing in where we work, where we live, where we play. It's a huge part of what we do, and being part of the community. We have huge initiatives to continue that and continue to grow, being a big part of that.
Nice. Yeah. I saw your name at the Knights game for sure. And I have yet to get to a majors game this year. I know everyone's beating me up for that because it's one of my favorite local sports thing, getting out to Labatt Park. So definitely we'll be doing that. And I look forward to seeing the JAAG name there for sure. So let's get into it. I'm curious on if you can give a high level on really what is rent to own. Why would someone consider that path in London?
For sure. Yeah. Ultimately, rent to own, or at JAAG Properties, we're calling it rent to home. What we do is we're helping clients that can't qualify for conventional financing. So it's essentially an agreement between a tenant buyer, because they're a tenant first, and then they're going to be a buyer. That's why we call them tenant buyers, or our clients. They enter into a rent to own agreement with a rent to own provider like JAAG Properties, and they're going to be renting the home from the rent to own company for a period of time, typically anywhere between 2 to 4 years. And they're going to be making monthly payments, and a portion of that monthly payment eventually goes towards their down payment. Throughout the program, they're also going to be working on improving their credit score, making sure that their income is claimed properly, so that they are able to qualify for financing of their own at the end of the term, where they're going to buy the home themselves and qualify for that bank mortgage at the end of the term. So ultimately, we're helping people that can't qualify for conventional financing from the banks or lenders, and getting them prepared and getting them ready so that they can qualify by the end of the rent-to-own term. And in London, Ontario, we've been seeing, obviously everywhere, it's been impacted across the country, across the province, and especially in London, where purchase prices have continued to increase. Now at the time that we're recording this, it seems like it's cooled a little bit, but they are up from a few years ago, and it's getting harder and harder to buy. So, why someone would consider it in London specifically is that they can't qualify for a conventional mortgage. Something's preventing them to qualify for the conventional mortgage, and this is an alternative route for them to take.
Nice. So I guess, my second question is kind of around that. Like, what are some examples of, someone that, you've been able to kind of help that couldn't just go the traditional mortgage route?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, a big part, as purchase prices have increased, is so have the down payments needed for the purchase, right? So whether you need the 5%, if you're self-employed or a small business owner, typically need 10%. if you want to avoid CMHC, or if you've had some bruised credit or damaged credit in your past, most banks lenders are going to look for 20%. So if you're looking at, well, I'll ask you, Phil, average purchase price in London, Ontario these days,
Yeah, they're
let's
getting
say,
sevens for sure.
okay, so let's just use 700,000, right? So, if you're looking at 5%, that's 35,000, 10% is 70,000, and 20% is 140,000. And add in your closing costs, your legal fees. So it's a significant amount of money that people need saved up. And if you don't have that saved, but you have good credit, you have good income, then rent a home program with JAAG Properties might be the solution. So that's one reason. Not enough down payment saved. Another is credit score. We see plenty of times where people don't understand their credit or don't know how to improve their credit, or they've had late payments or bruised credit in their past. And the banks, lenders are preventing them from qualifying because their credit is not where it needs to be. So it allows them to get into the housing market, gives them 2, 3, 4 years to improve that credit, working with our team, giving them the guidance and tips and the support that they need so that they can improve their credit score. So by the end of the term or the end of the rent to own program, they're able to qualify and get their credit where they need to be. And then the last one is income. So obviously the banks, the lenders, they're using a multiple of income to qualify individuals, families for purchase of their home. So we see whether it's new income, like young professionals just starting out in a career, or newcomers into the country that don't have that income history. That gives them, again, that time to build up that income history. Self-employed and small business owners, right? They can be really creative in terms of how much they make or how much they claim. So if they're not actually claiming their true income, and again, it allows them the time to claim what they're actually making so that they can have that on their tax returns and then go to the banks and lenders so that they can qualify. So it's typically around those three things: their income, their down payment, their credit score, and allowing that time so that they can get those things in order, those 2, 3, 4 years, and be in the home that they want to live in well beyond the rent-a-home program.
Nice. Yeah. So I know I've had some experience with the team, Alfonso, and I found the process to be pretty darn smooth, to be honest. It's from my perspective as a real estate agent. Obviously, I'm involved in the search process and getting them through to a deal and getting through to closing day. I'm curious on kind of the longer aspect of the program. How long is someone looking at being part of that process with you folks? Is it, you mentioned maybe 3, 4 years? What's kind of the typical that you're seeing with your program?
Yeah, with almost 8 years in business that we've operated these rent-a-home programs, typically 3 years is the average. I would say about even over 80% of our programs are in 3 years in length, and that's a good amount of time to whether claiming more income, saving up for down payment, improving your credit score. 3 years seems to be that magic number. We've done programs as short as 1 year because it's just a matter of whether it's saving up a little bit more money or claiming that income. And I think the longest period of time is about 5 years that we've done a rental program. But the good thing is that we have flexibility within our program. So even if it is a 3-year program, and the tenant buyer, the client, is able to buy out early, we have early buyout dates. So they can buy it 1 year, 2 year, or obviously at the 3 year. And then on the flip side, we're flexible in a way that life happens. We understand, obviously, there's global pandemic, there's gaps in employment, maybe job loss or reduced hours or things like that happen in people's lives. So we can actually be flexible as well and extend the program. So if there's a 3-year program, we can extend into a 4th year or a 5th year, depending on the situation of the client, right? So we're very flexible, but I would say 3 years is the average term length. And just to add on that is, a lot of people ask, well, how long does it take? Or can you give me an idea of what the process takes? And really, it's very similar that when you're working with a mortgage professional or going into the bank, they're going to collect all those documents that support the application: tax returns, job letters, income verification, all those types of things. And typically we can turn around an application in around 3 to 5 business days so that you can get that budget. And then they're going to go out and shop with you, Phil. And how long it takes to find a home, that's really up to the buyer. But that could take up, be really quick, or could take a while depending on taste in areas and what's available. But typically 3 years is the length of most of our rent to home programs, but could be anywhere between 2 to 4 as well.
Nice. Yeah. And I think I like the flexibility of it. And, for the people listening, I think it's interesting to at least get the opinion, right? I think sometimes I have people that come to me and that have gone through, your company, Alfonso, and it's been a smoother process because they didn't, maybe some of them didn't even realize that there was that option available when they first kind of came to talking with their bank. And I would say, you want to talk with the bank, of course. You might want to talk with a mortgage broker, which is they have some flexibility, and then of course, JAAG as well has some flexibility outside of those things. So I just like to tell clients and people listening that it's good to just have the information in front of you, and you can really make the best decision for you. We're all adults here. We can all make the best decisions for us, not someone's, just telling us it has to go one way or the other. So I like that approach that you have the flexibility throughout it. And yeah, I've seen it firsthand. Obviously it works for people in certain positions that still want to be able to get on that road to home ownership a lot quicker than maybe they could if they didn't have a programs that you're putting out to the market. I'm curious on if there's some examples of, how this has worked for clients that you could share, some success stories. I have my own personal things that I've seen it work earlier on in the process, but I'm curious on those success stories that you've seen, Alfonso.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in like I said, in the length of time that we've been in business now, we have over 125 successful tenant buyers, clients that have purchased a home and are proud homeowners now. So that to me is, over 125 success stories. But the few that stick out for me was probably the first project that Adam and I partnered on, and really was the kind of the seedling of JAAG Properties. It was a hairdresser. So she was working working hard. And for her, it was her credit that was preventing her. She was making really great money doing hair. Obviously, I wasn't a client of hers, and I don't think, Phil, you'd be a
Either was
client
I.
of hers
Yeah.
either. Yeah, but yeah. So she was a hairdresser, had a great clientele out in the Niagara region, and for her, it was just kind of cleaning up the credit and claiming the income properly. So it wasn't a matter of the down payment. She had a lot of money saved up, but she wasn't claiming her income properly, right? So those are people that are in the service industry or in like the personal care industry, right? A lot of tips and money that comes in that's not necessarily claimed or claimed properly. So it's just kind of tidying up those things. And for her, it was that security where she wanted to work from home, and she converted. So she found us. I'm kind of jumping out of order a little bit here, but so she found us those early days by just emailing a few people, contacts, other realtors that we were working with. And essentially the program really hasn't changed much from then. Is essentially we said, okay, well, approximately how much are you making annually? How much do you have saved? And where's your credit score? Once we had that figured out, we gave her a budget. She went to go find a home that worked for her. And that's what I was kind of getting to, is that she was looking for a place that she could bring her salon into her house. And she converted her garage into a salon, right? Like it was beautiful what she was able to do. I think she put in probably like $40,000-$50,000 of investment to turn her garage into her salon. So she worked from home. She took the time to repair her credit. She claimed her income properly. Obviously, she had the down payment that was already saved, and and she owned her home. So that was the first one that we started together. And there's so many other stories where newcomers into the country that just had no idea how the credit score worked, or young professionals that they just need a little bit more time, got great jobs, but have a bunch of student debt or student loans that need to be paid off and establish their work history. So but there's so many different stories where we've impacted their families. People that that are moving to new cities for new job opportunities, or just starting out in healthcare, where it's a great industry, right, to work in. But again, that the banks and the lenders don't look at somebody that's only been working for like 2 months. They need that more of that established work history. So that one is the one that sticks out for me. Is that was the first project that Adam and I, my business partner, we worked on together. And really helped her kind of bring her to the table, bring us to the table. It was kind of, it was really exciting to see, the amount of effort. And not only did she, invest in the garage and the salon, but just the landscaping, the home that she kept. And we're like, wow, we need to do this more. We saw how important it was to her. It wasn't just her home, it was her work. And and she was a hardworking person that just needed some help and guidance. And I think everyone along the way needs a little bit of help sometimes on something. So that one was, yeah, that one kind of sticks out for me in terms of how we were able to help. And yeah, she successfully owned her home. And because of the predetermined purchase price, that was something that I wanted to highlight as well too, is the market continued to rise. She had a guaranteed purchase price that she knew she was buying the home for at the end. If it's, you're waiting to save or fix your credit or claim more income in that time period, like we saw in the last couple of years, purchase prices can go up, they can go down, they can move all around, but you're locking in, exactly what you're buying the home for is a clear target for her, that she had some security in buying that home for that price.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's a really interesting story to share, because I think it kind of highlights the entire program and how it can work for someone in the area that has seen success with it. I would think another aspect that you mentioned is the credit score side. And I think, probably if you're newer to Canada as well, a lot of people just don't have credit scores at all. So it's not that they just haven't had time to build it like some of us have over time. Right. And I think that's an interesting aspect of it as well, in terms of people that are, newer to the country as well, and giving people an opportunity to get into the market.
Well, absolutely. Like, I consider myself, somewhat of an amateur athlete, in playing different sports. And I know we've talked about tennis, but if you're starting a new game and you don't even know the rules of the game, how can you be successful or even win, right? So if you're a newcomer coming into the country and have no idea how credit works and you don't have that support, it's really difficult to improve or to get the credit score where you need. And, we mentioned newcomers into the country, but we don't, even if you've lived in Canada your entire life, we don't get taught a credit score in school. There's no course in elementary or secondary school or post-secondary that teaches you about your credit score, how to improve your credit score. I think now we're starting to see the importance of that, but there's people that have lived here their whole life and don't understand how their credit works or what the things that they need to do to make sure that their credit is in shape for the banks, for the lenders to qualify for financing. So that piece of that support throughout the program, and we're in constant contact with our clients throughout the program. They can reach out to us at any point in time throughout the program, but at a minimum, we're reaching out to them with our credit team at least 3 times a year to make sure that they are on track and on plan, doing the things that they need to do. We're actually physically visiting them in person as well too. So if there's any assistance or issues that they need help with at the property, so we're there to help and guide them along the way, give them all the tools and knowledge and know-how, and that that home ownership and training program really is what we're trying to do from all aspects of it, from the financial side and the credit to making sure that looks good, qualifying, making sure that the income qualifies as well as the down payment, but then also from the actual building as well too. There's funny stories where first-time owners called us and like, my house is broken, but it was just a little bit of water that was coming in that needed to be addressed, where we help them, guide them through to say, hey, get a couple quotes, it's going to be okay, and we're helping them and guiding them along the way as well.
Nice. Yeah. And that's kind of a similar approach that I try to take as a real estate agent as well, is just, helping them throughout that process, whether they call me after, they've already purchased or sold a house. I mean, I always tell them that they can't get rid of me usually once they talk to me the first time. I'm always here to help. And that means that at any point they're allowed to ask me a real estate question. And I'm always happy to help anyone with that. So I guess let's wrap it up. But I wanted to ask you, Alfonso, if someone was interested in learning more about your program in the London area, what would be their best step? Would they email me or call you? What's kind of the best way to get in contact?
Definitely. You can check us out on the website. It's jaagproperties.com, JAAG You can send us email at info@jaagproperties.com. We have a 1-866-JAAG now to reach out and get in contact with us. Obviously, we're on social media. Not as cool as your page though yet, Phil. We got to get some. We got to find some cool restaurants to hang out at and piggyback on your social media as well too. But you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. But definitely get in touch with us. We have a team ready and waiting to answer any questions and help along the way in process. We want to be approachable. We want to have that one-on-one contact. We're human beings. We understand our clients are human beings, and we want to help them all the way through that process.
Nice. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We had our Seinfeld trivia last night at Anderson Craft Ales, and that was a lot of fun. And just so everyone is listening knows, I got I think 13 out of 50.
Oh
And the team
no.
that won got like 45 out of 50, and they were the most obscure Seinfeld facts ever determined. So we will be
Wow.
having more community events like that now that hopefully the pandemic is something that we're not having to have restrictions every single day. But of course, stay safe out there. If you have any questions for me, you can always just text me directly. My phone number is 226-977-2348. Just want to thank Alfonso from JAAG from coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate your time. This is the London, Ontario Real Estate Podcast, episode 19. Talk to you all soon.